Malcolm X is an extraordinary film, a great tribute to a civil rights leader, a black activist, and an educator for Islam. Malcolm X, starring Denzel Washington, directed by Spike Lee, is a pretty eye-opening film. This is the Criterion 4K version, and I gotta tell you, it really covers his early life as well as his involvement, his conversion to Islam, to his activism, to his friction with Elijah Muhammad, and his evolution beyond that as well. So the movie covers his life story. He started off as a hustler, a criminal. He came from this family that was essentially broken up by the system. It was broken up by the system after his family was a victim of a racist attack. So these Klansmen went after his family when he was a little kid. And his father tried to defend his family. And there's this one scene where they actually burnt their house down. These Klansmen, they were their face covered. Of course, they burnt his house down. This man got his kids out, his wife and kids out. He took his gun and shot at them. His wife told him he should have killed them all. And I was thinking the same thing at that point because, well, anyway, eventually his father was murdered by those Klansmen. And the movie covers how that impacted Malcolm X's life. I mean, basically after that, there was no income and the mother wasn't able to support the family. So the state came in and separated them. Malcolm X ended up in some foster home. He ended up living a life of crime early on. He was a hustler, a criminal, and he had some pretty interesting dealings with some shady characters. And he was messing around with this white lady who was sketchy, and they eventually started burglarizing people. There's this one scene where they're in a house. Malcolm at the time, known as Malcolm Little, was in a house, and they're actually robbing these people, blind, there's jury and everything. He actually slid a ring off of somebody's finger. Anyway, they get caught. He ends up in prison, and he meets this guy who introduces him to Islam. It's a nation of Islam, and he basically teaches him about Islam and a different way of living. And since that, it definitely transformed his life. It gave him a positive outlet to turn to. When he got out of prison, he was able to start getting involved in Islam and teaching, and his message was basically just independence, being able to be self-sufficient. He wanted black people to build their own. And he was talking a lot about segregation. Basically, he wanted black people to build their own community, their own civilization, instead of being reliant on white people. And he had this really close relationship with Elijah Muhammad, the leader of the Nation of Islam. And he was very much a follower. And every time he would give a speech, he would basically say he was speaking for him, everything he learned was from this guy. And later on, we learned some things in the movie about that guy they looked up to. So, it's interesting to look at his evolution because at one point, the film covers some really iconic moments where he talks about the house Negro that's a really great scene right there. He eventually goes to the Mecca, and when he breaks away from this Elijah Muhammad guy, and to watch his evolution, watch how he went from every white person is a devil to saying that when he went to Mecca, he met Muslims of all different colors, and he said that his primary focus was helping black people, his own people, but he said that other people can help, but they couldn't really join. But eventually, he got to the point where he was starting to focus on human beings are human beings, and watching the evolution is really interesting. Then there's a paranoia towards the ending, and it's not really paranoia. They really are out to get you, and that was disheartening. That was watching other black people turn on other black people, and they're all supposed to be helping. That was really disheartening, to say the least. But this is a great film. This is what you get with the film. With the 4K, you get this awesome book, some great photography. I didn't get a chance to read it all. It's almost like a little mini book, something you don't normally get with Blu-rays and 4Ks. I see why a lot of people like these Criterions. The black disc is the 4K disc. It did sort of freeze towards the end, how to take the disc off and wipe it. These 4Ks, they have so much information on them. They're really sensitive to any little crumb that gets on there. Excuse me, any little smudge that gets on there. So that's something you should keep in mind. But it does come with two DVDs. I mean, two Blu-rays. And the 4K, it looks great, by the way. 4K looks wonderful, by the way. The two Blu-rays, they had the movie on one Blu-ray, the first disc, and then on the second disc, they actually have a lot of extra content. They have this one conversation that Spike Lee has with this journalist, this writer, and the 4K actually comes with a commentary with Spike Lee and a cinematographer as well. So this is awesome. I'm glad I got this one because I wanted to get this movie, Malcolm X. I thought about just getting a regular Blu-ray version because that's usually what I do with movies. Get the Blu-ray version. I don't feel the need to get the fancy stuff. But this was on sale, and this is a great deal for the sale. I mean, this is if you can get this on sale. And that's how I feel about a lot of these Criterion collections. But yeah, just having the movie on Blu-ray is awesome. So this is a great movie. But the 4K and all this extra content in the book, I highly recommend it. It's just, man, the whole thing just, you just think about what was going on in the world and what's going on in the world right now. But anyway, share your thoughts, guys. Malcolm X, highly recommend it.